Yeah, yeah. Look, you out here for the top and nothing less. Quiet my doubts like God got any steps. The shit's tough, been through it and I confess. Everything that shine ain't gold, quiet is kept. It ain't always been this clean, I'm a mess. The boy fit, but these bars I spit sick. Gotta get it off my chest. Look, my word is born, telling you we the best. Game changer, I break rules like fuck the rest. We shall. Like a coming of age. OG said it was written, put the pen to the page. I pull rank like I'm cutting a spade. Guns go blaze, clowns testing my aim. When them things popped off, nothing was same. I wonder how the game could change. Whole damn thing rearranged. The new picture too big for the frame. Yeah, seeds still grew from under the flames. Good times coming soon after the rain. We stirring the pot, no hiding for pain. And everything left, poof, soon as it came. How we rockin'? Mind state that we adopted. Cruise through doubt, move mountains. Who's counting? They want us locked up and boxed in, but here's a plot twist. You got this. You were the right one. This is the right time. We in the right place. Once in a lifetime, living our best life. Call me obsessed, fine. Speak from the chest. I'm winning. You guessed right. We shall. We shall.
Yeah. What up, what up? How we doing? How we doing? What's good? Yeah, applause, applause. We are looking at September 16th, and this is how Billy sees it. Let me bring my music down. This is actually my most recent song I dropped, We Shall, on the most recent album I dropped, Coming of Age, on my website billybutton.com. Check it out, check my music. I love that album. I love every song on the album, and I think the whole thing is a story that I'm trying to tell, and I hope you will be able to go and get a sense of it, and enjoy it. Enjoy the bars, enjoy the thoughtful expression, enjoy the dulcet tones. You know, there's a couple of songs in there where your boy's harmonizing. I think you just heard one in particular, We Shall. Really proud of that. Really proud of the progression out here. And today we're going to actually be in the music space. So that's what we're here for. Applause for that. I want to talk about the new track that Kendrick Lamar dropped on his Instagram. Just dropped it on it. Just blessed us with a new track. No fanfare. No build up. The dude just got selected as the Super Bowl halftime performer, which is a huge platform and a huge honor. Puts him in very rarefied air. He was rarefied air before. This puts him in super rarefied air. Oh, yeah. So much so that there was all kinds of controversy. Obviously, he's got this thing with Drake, so people were saying, you know, well, nobody was really saying Drake should have been it, but because it's in New Orleans, people were saying Lil Wayne should have been the choice. And there was a whole bunch of weird, goofy mess about that, but none of that mattered. Kendrick is the Super Bowl halftime performer, and as this stuff kind of comes out, I think they just did a promotion for it and all this stuff, and people are all the buzz. What does he do? What does he do when you get validated on that stage? And the Super Bowl is in like at least a half a year from now, like 6 months. What, January, February? So what do you do? Well, he just blesses us with new music, and he blesses us with challenging music. He blesses us with revolutionary music, I might say. Yeah? Can I apply that word there? Some people won't like that. Some people won't like the application of that word there. But if we're talking about transformative, personal revolutions of the mind and drawing lines in the sand for what he deems appropriate and stepping into his power, I don't think anyone's ever done anything like this. So let's actually just get into the song. I'm going to play it one time straight through. I heard it. I've listened to it twice now. Okay. This is going to be my third time listening with y'all. And let's see what happens. Let's get it. Nice, smooth beat. This is where you can kill it sometimes, though. Mm. Clowns. What are you working for? Mm. Mm. Dang. Mm. 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 It's only halfway through. Mm. 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 There's so much in that. There's so much in that. And there's a whole bunch of buzz right now off this. And I'm excited for it. I'm excited. It's everybody's trying to figure out their own different takes on this. When I say takes on it, I'm being a little bit cynical, like people just coming in to say whatever. But I think there's people genuinely trying to understand where Kendrick is coming from and what his mindset is and why he's making these choices. And I think that's amazing. Let me just say, let me start off. Let me come back to me full screen first. I did a Kendrick thing. I did a video about Kendrick and my thoughts on his work a couple of years ago. So let me go get that real quick and show y'all some of that. In it, I really talked about, it was like an effort to talk about love and to talk about his most recent album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. And hold on one second. Was it Miss Morale? It was. Yeah. And so, yo, check that out. I'm gonna put that in the link where I talk about that. And I see this as like an extension of that. I see the same struggles and challenges that I thought Kendrick was going through at that point. I believe he's now going through it in a new phase of his life after being validated on such a huge platform, like being chosen for the Super Bowl, halftime show. I think Kendrick is navigating something that keeps validating him and showing him that he's the best and rewarding him. And at the same time, he understands that it's odious. It's grimy. It's disgusting. It's painful. It's a bunch of self-inflicted wounds. And he sees his family. He remembers his childhood. He remembers the struggles of people in his neighborhood. And he sees the Black community, and he sees the world community, and he sees himself in this platform, and he's grappling with how to do this. How do you continue to be the #1 rap artist in this massive system while also harboring this resentment for it and for seeing the way things move and the way the popular culture develops itself, and that whole popular culture personified in Drake, I think. Right? Which brought up that whole beef that they just went through. And he went through the beef. Kendrick destroyed Drake. There's nothing you could tell me about that. There's nothing you could tell me. Applause for that. It was an interesting little back and forth, but there's no way anybody who's serious can say that Drake came away a winner with that. Everyone now, Drake is synonymous with like questionable behavior around children and even on the bars, apart from like that kind of like really personal stuff, just bars and Kendrick's like regularity with it was insane. So he comes from that. So he wins in that arena, the arena where, if you're a rap lover and a hip hop lover and particularly a lyrics lover, and the beef stuff, part of the culture, he says, yo, I represent that. I'm the tops of that. And the one thing Drake had, by comparison, was that he was like the most spun. He's the most played artist, it seems, through Spotify and all these, newfangled constructions on the internet and subscription service music. Drake was that dude. He's pulling in huge numbers, and that was his claim to fame. He can also spit. He's also talented. Let's not take that away. He's also a talented rapper, and he can also harmonize. He can also sing. You know what I mean? He can harmonize, and he can rap. But his entire thing, his entire image, the thing that he represented, Kendrick stands in full contrast to that, beats him out on the platform and on the ground of lyrical skill and battling, then gets validated and chosen to be the halftime person for the Super Bowl, which is a huge accomplishment. And I'm seeing on the blogs that people are talking about this is a round 2 with Drake. It's not a round 2 with Drake. It's not a round 2 with Drake. Drake is over. That's done. He's over with Drake. When you are projecting a round 2 with Drake, there's nothing there. And Kendrick knows there's nothing there. And so he's moved on. And yes, there's going to be some overlap because he's still addressing stuff related to Drake and that culture that Drake represents. And there's this thing that he believes is odious, that he's in there and he sees it. He wants no part of it. And he's grappling with that. And so it overlaps, and that's unfortunate. If people whose names were not mentioned in the joint find some common cause, like they identify, oh wait, I think he's talking about me when he talks about touching kids. I think he's talking about me when he's talking about just like mindless materialism. If you think that about you, that's not good. You just like you gotta check. Then maybe there's some truth to that, and you know. But he's talking about something huge. I think he's on a path that most people can't grapple with. We can't even grapple with. All we can is project this kind of something else, something limited, Let me see oh yes, Ash, what's up? Pocket watching, you must be the police. So razzle dazzle. I think I know who that is. What's going on, yo? Rocky says it's about the state of the culture and industry. Yeah, he's trying to raise grown men. Rocky says this is an epilogue and a call to arms for changes we all need to make. Yes, man. Yes, girl. Material things are important to Drake. Kendrick is concerned with the soul. Yes. He talking to if the shoe fits. Exactly. And that's why people say, like with the sneaker on the cover, if the shoe fits, it's another sort of, I love how we can even with the brilliance that I know Kendrick has in every single bar, we can also like add on to stuff. And I love the nature of how art works that way. You know what I'm saying? But even the sneaker at the front is like, for those who identify with this sneaker and who get it, jump in and associate. And also, of course, the black Air Force is also usually, means like rough shit, like stuff's about to go down. Versus the white Air Forces, they say. What do I want to do? I want to say also, in terms of people talking about Drake responding, again, this isn't about Drake. I don't think it has anything to do with Drake. And I think if Drake were to respond, I think it would be exactly what we're saying. I think he would expose himself even further. It would be like, what? Because again, Drake can't respond on this level. Drake is not on this level. And if you're not, aware enough, you might not even be able to like understand what we're talking about here. The cats that really thought that Drake won the battle with Kendrick. I mean, these people are just diehard like Drake people and are, refer to how good music is based on plays and stuff. Like it's on that. It's like it's an entirely different way of assessing reality, including music. If the shoe fits, Dot wants us to take the man's head off and bring it to him. Exactly. Okay. That's exactly right. I'm going to get into that too, exactly, because I think it's definitely a call to arms, like both of y'all are saying. I feel like, should I go through the bars again, or should I talk about myself? Because I want to talk about how this relates to me. You know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about how I think this relates to me and why Kendrick resonates with me so much. And keep it an absolute buck with you, because anybody who's been rocking with me for a while, I talk about the media a lot. I've been talking about the news media for publicly on YouTube for at least 4 years. But anyone who knew me before my days in cable news, I also did independent media, and we had a critique of the cable news stuff. But once I left in 2021, I was presented with a very strange position. It was something that built up and then hit me like a ton of bricks about what was going on, who I was, what was in front of me, what I clearly had to do. And so I want to like say that, like, as people even talk about this thing right now, we talk about what Kendrick is saying, and people will project a story onto it. And Kendrick certainly, I think, is talking about something bigger than Drake, bigger than any individual person. He talks about the radio personalities pushing propaganda and all that. He's talking about culture. He's talking about industry. He's talking about profit. He's talking about profit motive versus art. And what I see from my perspective is that we can extend that same energy beyond just hip hop. He's referring to something. He's in a particularly brilliant place and able to look at hip hop and through this lens and through his art and through his artistry, tell us this story, give us roadmaps for healing, ask us to think deep, and ask us to ask deeper questions of ourselves. And people sometimes critique him like he must have some kind of like, Jesus complex or something. Why do they project that even? Because they see him trying, they see him attempting, and without understanding his personal experience, the inner turmoil, they apply that to him, and as a critique. I mean, even someone who might call themselves a Christian would do this when typically you're supposed to, walk towards Jesus then, right? If he's that, then what is he saying then? If you see that in him, what is he saying? What is he trying to convey? For me, I see the problem in the arenas that I spent time in. And so the same kind of clout chasing and making decisions that are untrue, setting up images, it extends here too. If sometimes people are like, people that spark the debate about the culture of hip hop and what it represents and how young black kids are seeing the world and through that lens and this and that. If that's true for hip hop, then clearly it's true for something like journalism, right? Hip hop is, at the end of the day, a beautiful expression of culture and creativity. A lot of it is fiction. A lot of it is storytelling of all type, right? Journalism attempts or claims to be an expression of reality. So if we can look with a fine-tooth comb and pick through and make sure we say, I think we should move in this direction. I think we should be mindful of what kinds of artists we saturate our market with, and what are the forces really at play? What are the messages and ideas that we present to ourselves, especially as stewards of the culture, as black people? I think that that's true. And hip hop is a creative construction. For me, I think we could do the same analysis with journalism. And I'll tell you what, it's relevant to black people. It's not just black journalism. It's not just black outlets. The things white people say on TV to each other, about each other and about us and about the world, and the stories they tell will affect us. And we need to be aware. And I've struggled with the challenge of trying to articulate some of this stuff and like, judging myself because there's an ego there, or I want to say something and my opinion is forthright and nobody cares. Maybe you should just focus on getting money like everybody says. Let me tell you, it was a crazy story. A friend of mine, actually an acquaintance, hit me up, asked me a question about some of my posts related to the media, challenging the media on being honest. And I write some stuff on my website about what I think journalism is and what journalists are and the challenge of it. And the friend said to me, the acquaintance said to me, well, be careful, man, because some of that stuff comes off petty. And I don't know what they did. Maybe you didn't get a salary or something, or you didn't get the promotion you wanted, but don't just, be careful with any kind of personal beefs you have, and it just blew my mind, right? Because I have a massive, I've been actually pretty meticulous in documenting like what I'm thinking and what I'm experiencing, the same way Kendrick has, Kendrick, through his brilliant music, me, it was with writing first, and then I've been able to try to convey things with cartoons and then try to convey things in the music now. And I feel really blessed to be in this position with the music and the second album. Check it out on my website, billybutton.com. Coming of Age. It's awesome. 7 tracks. For someone who knows me personally to kind of skip over all that stuff that I've written, all the stuff I've created, the videos and stuff I try to talk about, language and identity, and the stuff verges on the spiritual for me. I try to like convey all that stuff. It's confusing for me is what I mean in terms of it verges on the spiritual. It verges on the spiritual in the sense that I don't have the language for it. That this is something that I'm trying to like help us all sort of have a conversation with together. And like the process for me has been to come to comfort with understanding that like this person cannot understand my motivations. They cannot understand what I think I'm navigating, what I'm, you know, why I say the words that I say, and the choices that I make, and who I choose to critique, and why and when, and the full tapestry of like my fears in speaking in one way or another, and then saying, okay, well, we need to, and then things happening in the world, and you having to move with that. And everyone's doing that in different ways. This person doesn't know my story, and so they just assume, and then they say, well, you be careful with being petty. And you know, I could see like Kendrick, I see that, like I'm frustrated by that, but I can see Kendrick's frustration too in the song as he's talking to like, you know, why argue with cats, why talk to cats, because cats don't want to hear stuff sometimes, and people don't want to improve. People have a story that they internalize and it feels comfortable and they rock there. And this happens on a personal level, it happens on a cultural level. And we have little ways that we operate, you know. Kendrick's looking at this thing we call culture. That's not our, we don't own the culture. We don't create all of the norms of the culture. We create some of the norms. We are the faces of the norms. I was saying as I was looking at this continued ethnic cleansing in, you know, in the Middle East, in Gaza, genocide, the face of the people talking now in the State Department is this brown dude, that I think South Asian gentleman. I don't remember his name. The woman speaking for the White House is this black woman out here from DC, and I think of Haitian descent, justifying nonsense, normalizing nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Not helping people see, right? Because they feel that they're in a position, they have to play a role or whatever. But we're all so much more than that. You know, to say that I feel like Kendrick is frustrated by that, and people don't want to talk about it. People get weird, you know. People don't want to get challenged. So as Kendrick, to me, and I'm not Kendrick, I thought my personal experience with the cable news thing has been heavy for me. It's been my experience. It's been my path, and it's breathtaking to notice that everyone has a different path. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Kendrick's path is bigger than my, you know, whatever word you want to use. It's different. It's wider. He's in a different, the Super Bowl. He hasn't settled into this like, let me just receive the benefits of everything and unquestioned and allow all this bullshit to happen here and there. I'm going to cleverly navigate this thing. So it's interesting to watch people like critique the man, and to, you know, the whole Lil Wayne thing was weird to me. Lil Wayne's another interesting artist, but he's a whole different vibe and energy. So I love it because I've been able to sort of articulate some of this stuff more now that I've been rapping, frankly. Without rapping, I'd be sort of talking about it in a different way, you know what I'm saying? But the shit lets you open up. That's why, again, I speak out in favor of letting everybody have their creative outlet and to really express that. I think there's something, it's therapeutic, which means it's healing, which means it's something of quality. I think there's something happens when you don't speak, when you hold on to stuff. That's what trauma has to do. That's what he's talking about in so many songs, and he goes hard on men. He goes on our men in particular because we are powerful, yo. Like, we set the tone of shit. You know, how many women have all kinds of different things to say, and cats shut them down just off the strength of their woman. They don't get the opportunity to actually carry their voice the way you would with a man, because you have this preconceived notion about where wisdom can come. It can only be packaged in a masculine form. You might not even front of mind like know that about yourself, but it's there. So he goes hard on men, and I think that's important. I think he has to do that. I think he does that for a purpose. Again, he's not talking about Drake. He's talking about guys who settle into a culture, like everyone around Drake, everybody everyone around in the rap industry who just turn a blind eye to stuff. You know, there's this whole money thing. There's this whole get the bag culture thing. I remember, I'm not on the radio so much these days, but I be hearing, get the bag every couple of minutes. That phrase we don't realize how different phrases get pushed and normalized for us and given to us and made cool and made viable, and what the underlying premises are. You know, there's so much more about us and about life and about like what it means to be here. And Kendrick's tapping into all that. Like, and yeah, I think what does it mean even to have a Jesus complex, right? He's tapping into the notion that he's powerful versus the notion that he has no power, which is a more comfortable notion where we can like, okay, I can just kind of like do the typical thing and do what everybody else is doing and just kind of keep it low and all right, bye-bye. He's tapping into the idea that his words matter, and that his definition of self isn't just himself and his immediate family, right? That he's secured, he's met that's kind of social requirement for a man to like make a ton of money for his immediate family. He extended himself beyond that. And he did it in the hip hop battles, and he's doing it in these little songs that he's dropping, giving us like real perspective and showing how we can tell stories about each other and challenge each other from love. So I think we gotta like, first thing is like, it's not about Drake, yo. It's got nothing to do with Drake. Nothing to do with Drake. If you think it's about Drake, you're missing it. And I think Drake should not reply. If he replies, I think he messes up. I think that shows that he's like, oh my God. Oh man. I'm the bum nigga he's talking about. Not great. I think that he's saying, wherever you are, there's a space for you to make it better. You're not Kendrick. You're not up for the Super Bowl. You're not a superstar, legendary hip hop artist. You know what I'm saying? But you are in a place somewhere where your voice matters, and what you stand for matters, and what you let slide matters. Especially if you're a man, which is, you know what I'm saying? Because like, this shit is wild. I did a podcast with my wife about 2 years ago where she talked about like domestic abuse. We talked about domestic violence on the podcast, and we had a guest on. We had, I think, 2 guests on that time. No, we had 1 guest on who was talking, and then we had someone in the comments. And the crazy thing is, they were battling her over the idea that this is a real problem. She was saying, I don't remember what the numbers are in particular, but that black women, of course, the rates of murder for black women are a higher tick for other demographics. And They are primarily, black women getting killed or maimed or injured by people in their group, in their social group. Friends, family, and mostly people they're dating. And the amount of immediate pushback, right? Like, this was a completely foreign way of talking about our society for the people who were on the call. They didn't like it. But it's just true. We have to talk about things that are true. We have to like actually deal with things that are true. That's what I see too in the thing. He's like, party all the time. Like, it's not about partying all the time. What is going on in the world? In the last 2 or 3 months, I know 3 celebrity women that were killed in a very horrific way. 3 horrific ways by their partners. One was like like a former Olympian. Their partner burned them, I believe, maybe alive. The other person was the news report used the word puree to describe what happened. Someone with the dude took his wife, killed her, and then, like, in order to cover it up, put her in a blender and all this stuff. Weird stuff. I say that to say, like, there's so many other examples of that. And yet, when we had that conversation on domestic violence, the 2 men who were interacting with that conversation at the time were up in arms. They didn't like even the suggestion that such things occur, or that there was a problem, or that there was anything that we should do about something, Why? Who's giving our story? Our story should include the truth so that we can care enough, so that we can act and we can be active about our roles in our society. And like, a lot of this stuff that goes on only goes on because of a veil of ignorance, a pretend veil of ignorance about truth. And so that's what I think. Again, Kendrick he's using his platform on the biggest platform after being validated by the Super Bowl, after locking in a Super Bowl slot, to call us all in. To call us all in, to pay attention. We can't let this stuff continue just in the rap game alone. That stuff is contrived. It's not an accident that the messages come out the way that they do. There's profit incentives and choices being made. And yes, there's a market and people, and we have a role as well. We need to, like, as he say, we need to like be interested in other, but like, there are people with power who can actually point out like how these systems work. People who have experience who can point out how these systems work. And if you care enough, you use your voice to say, these things need to move different. And that's what I think Kendrick did. And it resonated so hard with me because I think that's needed broadly. I think we need to become really serious in our desire to understand each other, and to love each other, and to understand our political systems, and understand words, understand the very things that we use to communicate with each other, that there's power in them, and that like we don't just see things as they are. We seem to see our root narratives, our root stories is what we see. And we play out root stories. We play out our root connections to identities. And we reward each other for certain behaviors. And we tell each other, I remember this whole, again, when I moved to the South, being a light-skinned black nigga, light-skinned nigga, there's all kinds of like assumptions and weird stuff that we heap onto each other. There's the, black card revoked, which all it comes with, there's a set of norms and assumptions. And, you don't fit these molds, you can get your black card revoked. Now, these are all jokes. It's nothing that's serious, but it is serious. None of the stuff in hip hop is serious either, right? But it is serious. These things like connect, you know? And the way we define things, the way we define ourselves, we've got to be careful. We got to define ourselves with love. Some of the fun little stereotypes and some of the fun, like, stuff is, it has double meanings, you know? Cultural manifestations, yo. And it's hard to talk about them. I remember when I first moved to Washington, D.C., my job coming out of college, and I was working on the Capitol Hill. I was very proud to be working on Capitol Hill, very excited. I didn't think I would be on Capitol Hill. And I was here, and at that point, I probably had designs on being more like a senator. I was, you know, trying to figure out how to navigate the Capitol Hill scene and stuff. Just culturally, man, there's ways that we, like, I remember the CBC, the Congressional Black Caucus, and the staffers had a Congressional Black Staffers kind of thing. And there's cultural ways that we express ourselves as black people, as we want to differentiate ourselves, and we want to actually also stay within our cultural frameworks. And so I remember, like, cats who would be on the Hill, who would very much embody a very sort of like proper political aesthetic, like, you know, the next senator kind of thing. But also they would attach themselves to like trap. Like, I also love trap though. Like, no. But seriously, I love trap though. But in every other way, they got, you know, the white voice and the suit and the whole deal. But I also love trap. I love trap. I gotta get my trap going in the mornings, you know what I'm saying, when I'm driving to the Hill. And, you know, that's culture. That's like a weird thing that I always saw. It's like attachment. That's what I see. It's identity. And trap is one form of a thing. But it was trap. It was always trap. It's one form of our music. But beyond that, Kendrick's talking about the corporate guys, the money behind it. That's why, like, sometimes you end up talking about reporters a lot. If I'm in my space with the journalism, you end up talking about reporters. There's a whole other thing behind that, but it's harder to talk about that. So you talk in the ways that you can talk. And you try to, like, you know, get your point across. I think we can define ourselves for real. We can actually rest. We can pull back these definitions that we didn't always have the power to own, that we can actually own them and actually set our own definitions. And that's why I wrote a piece on my site after the NABJ thing, after Donald Trump went to the National Association for Black Journalists, and he was pretty racist. This is where he started to question whether Kamala was black or Indian. He said it straight out. He was like, "What is she, Indian or black?" She turned black after she wanted to get into politics or whatever. It was kind of a debacle. But it was also, I think, an opportunity for us to define, black people, NABJ, to define our culture, our journalists. We aren't journalists simply because we work at a corporate institution. In fact, that is not what a journalist is. That is someone who works at a corporate institution. The journalists are people who are attempting to give proper language to reality so that viewers can understand what reality is. And if you do that, if you define that properly, and if you're serious about that work, you wouldn't have Harris Faulkner on the stage at the NABJ. Harris Faulkner works for Fox News. Fox News is not a journalist organization. Harris Faulkner works for Fox News. The organization had to cough up almost $1 billion because they lie. And everyone knows it's kind of like a WWF kind of WWE kind of deal. So when children are looking at the NABJ, the question is, what is a journalist? And it's the definition. We can do it. We have to define it differently. So, and people know this because I'll get private messages from people, and I will have private conversations with people who see that and see that potential and understand the challenge of the current moment. But the culture continues where you allow Harris Faulkner to get on stage and give fawning questions to Donald Trump. And so our whole culture, the conversations you're hearing on TV are just kind of playful, jokey joke, nonsense conversations. No one's seriously trying to ascertain anything. Donald Trump gets to get, it's just, you know, she has to be at Fox News. She's a corporate journalist and she's black. And so here she goes. I think that culture is in different pockets. There's different pockets of culture, and you know, hip hop is a pocket of culture, and there's a journalist pocket. There's a Capitol Hill pocket. There's all kinds of other industries, and we can, you know, I talk about words. We can label stuff. We can give words to stuff. And when you do that, you know, you create mythology, yo. It's a crazy thing how this works. Are y'all feeling me on this? When you start to create a narrative and start to tell a story about these pockets that I'm pointing to, you create a mythology, and you got to be careful. You got to keep watching that mythology and shepherding it, because I think Kendrick is pointing to a mythology about black culture that was built from like P. Diddy, like dancing and at the parties all the time. You know, I certainly as a kid in high school, that was like a big, like, oh shit, that could be a job. Like someone can get paid to simply be like a club head and be around naked women. And that's why everybody, you know what I'm saying? Like, but that's not what hip hop is. And that's not what culture is. Our culture is broad and vast, and it's multiplicitous. Is that a word? Is that a fucking word? Let's applause that. And it's constantly being shaped. And so Kendrick is actually fighting, I think, a battle that is really hard for us to even fathom, the average person, you know. And I love the way he's creatively navigating it. I don't understand the details. You know, anybody can look and say he should be doing this differently, blah, blah, blah. And somebody, no, he shouldn't have taken the Super Bowl thing. And no, after the Super Bowl, you're supposed to make money. You're supposed to like. I appreciate who Kendrick is and who I think he is and what he's doing. And all these takes are narrow sort of projections about what we think is happening over there. I think he's clearly with like a real strong. He talks about his wife, and he's with a strong woman who's probably dope, and I think he's dope. And I think he's asking his fans to exude the energy that he's bringing in that song, yo, which is to stand on something. Stand on something, yo. Stand on something. We're not here to just go to strip clubs, yo. You know what I'm saying? And the strip club fans won't fuck with that. But strip clubs are cool, but we're not here to just scam or to find ways to trick women. We're not here for that. We're not here to pretend away like real issues, this whole gender war that's sparked by these like bad ideas and these social media pundits and these guys on the internet trying to get famous. Andrew Tate and Fresh and Fit and these kind of guys who are just kind of like These are journalists, in a sense, right? They're building platforms, looking at phenomena in real life, and then painting a picture for us about what reality is. And just like Kendrick said, these are clowns. And I love that he went with clowns, because I've been using clowns in my music, and I've been using clowns as I try to define this group. I forget who this dude was. Kevin something. Can't remember his name. He was one of the first Manosphere dudes. And he came up, he was at some podcast. I might have been on a radio show, but maybe it was on his own podcast. And he was screaming at the top of his lungs. He was pissed off because he had a stat that said that, what was it, 80%? 80% of jailed black men, or something like this. 80% of jailed black men had single moms, were from single moms. And his point, he was angry because this points out that women are the problem. These single moms are problematic. They don't know how to handle men. And he was making the case about how women are the problem. When the truth is that same stat can be looked at in a completely different way. And I could say that 80% of jailed men came from homes where the father wasn't around, where the father left. Right? And I could paint a story about the men if I wanted to, about fathers, and make that critique. And if I wanted to make a critique about black men, I could go and make that critique. And I can tell a story. This is what's happening. It's just people telling incomplete stories from their vantage point, with their aims and their goals, and not realizing that. It's a big thing. Hold on, let me go to some of these messages here. Oh shit. Asha says Jay-Z wasn't a good rap daddy. He was too focused on making money and didn't care enough about feelings and healing from trauma that the community was going through. Absolutely. She says Nas should have sat the throne, but he wasn't flashy enough. Shaking my head, Jay-Z. Rocky says, yeah, I was never into Jay-Z. Rocky says, I agree 100. Let me pull this over. I'm missing some of these letters here. I agree 100 with Nas. Yeah. Rocky says, I do the same thing. It's being irrational with your life. If you're on different frequency, they can't understand. Bruh. That's real, man. That's real. This whole concept of the frequency is a very interesting one. It's one that's not mapped. It's not well mapped, and it's only mapped in spaces where people, there's a lot of distrust. It's a kind of new age philosophy, new age spirituality. But there's something to it, man. If they're not on the same frequency, they can't understand. Rocky says there's smear campaigns going on about that, and just I keep him in prayer. The crown is heavy. Real talk, man. Everybody's not gonna wake up, unfortunately. Sheba says current Paris Olympian killed by ex-partner. That's right. Cognitive dissonance. A war where one side kills 95% of the other. We have to be serious. Life is a big thing, man. Life is a big thing. There's so many facets to life. We're so narrowed in. I talked about a few of the things like the black card, but there's so many other ways that we narrow ourselves in. We say this is what blackness is, and this is what whiteness is. Contrast, self-identification, storytelling, and then group sort of pressure. There's so much more, and the men have to, men love the idea of being masculine and carrying a burden and creating. Well, this is it. I think women, if there is such a thing, if these gender archetypes have any value, I see an interesting value in the idea of like a femininity coming from like a freedom and a vastness, pulling from all directions, and imaginative openness. And I think that perhaps the corollary, the opposite, the balanced opposite is the masculine assertion, the masculine creation, the masculine building, bringing into fruition, bringing into the tangible. So if that's something we love about ourselves, then we should all happily take on this challenge from Kendrick, right? Where the soldiers at? The ones that lost it all and learned to learn from that. Yes. The masculine is that. There's a challenge for us. The masculine is that ability to create something new. Now, what we need is the imagination. We need is the feeling. We need to do the work to access that. Maybe work isn't the word. We need to relax. We need to sit in a new possibility. I have the benefit of this amazing, brilliant, creative, imaginative, feminine energy always around me, my wife. Not everyone gets that. But I think Kendrick is asking particularly men to examine themselves completely differently, to grow into something newer and better. Because it's possible, because it's here, because it exists. In spite of all of it, it exists, So it's gonna continue. I love that Kendrick is doing what he's doing. I love that Kendrick is feared right now. He's walking around demonstrating not just like lyrical prowess, but his genius and his brilliance and the work that he's done, and his willingness to continue to grow, even when, again, all these validating spaces would probably reward him for being a total fuckboy and being the opposite. He's saying, no, I'm not that. And I don't want any confusion about that, in fact. We're not going to allow any confusion about who I am versus what these other things are, what the principles that I stand on versus these other people. And that's huge. That's huge, man. Big fan of Kendrick. And wishing him the best. I know it's going to continue. And I can't wait to see what he does next. And I'm going to be honest with you, yo. I'm already writing this. I was kind of like thinking, should I tell this? But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm working on a reply. I think I'm going to write a reply to my guy Kendrick, who I've been a huge fan of for such a long time, who I really appreciate his continued growth and example, as an artist, which he continues to be vulnerable and show us his growth and process, and I feel and hope I'm doing a similar thing in my way, in my space. Making things uncomfortable where it needs to be uncomfortable, making things beautiful where it needs to be beautiful. And being a presence and not simply receiving the world. Shedding that story about receiving, about only, being a product of something, an automaton of sorts. That story is a powerful, dangerous, limiting story. And Kendrick represents like a shedding of that. And what it means is it's shedding everything. That's the scary thing. It's not just shedding this like little skin, soft skin. It's shedding the idea of the soft skin and the idea of the separation between you and the other person. It's a powerful thing. And if you're not on that frequency, if you're not familiar with some of that language and some of that awareness, then you won't be able to project that in the moment to what he's doing. It'll be like my friend who thinks that I'm critiquing cable news. I'm critiquing Fox News and cable news because I have a personal beef with someone, right? That's not what it is. That's not. Kendrick, I think, I hope, I see the choices of someone who is grappling with difficult things the way that I try to grapple with different things and try to navigate different things. And I think it's a beautiful thing. And I know other people, I've spoken with other people, big fans, who are going through their thing too. That's the thing about it. Like all these things, nothing. Kendrick, he has a big platform, but he's at the Super Bowl, but his struggle is as meaningful as mine and as yours. It's as meaningful as yours. And the conversations that you typically don't have, that you need to have, that you should have those conversations. And the patterns that you typically engage in that are typical and that you've typified and normalized, that you have to now challenge and break those. That's part of the whole thing. It's not enough to kind of bop your head to this and sort of, oh yeah, he's beefing with Drake. It's not about Drake. It's not about Drake. It's about something way more amazing if you will see it, if you will step into it, if you will be it. And that's what he's saying. That's what he's been saying. So big fan. That's all I've got for this show. We are at the hour mark. I'm going to just wrap it up right there. Look out for what Kendrick's going to do next. Look out for some new music for me. Check out my album on my site, Coming of Age. All right. As always, it's honesty and empathy and love. And I'm going to leave y'all out with one of my joints. Yeah? Yeah. Let's do that. Let's do We Shall again. Oh. Here we go.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Peace. It's love, yo. Yeah? Wait, how do I end the stream? Peace!
Y'all here for the top and nothing less. Quiet my doubts like God guiding these steps. Shit's tough, been through it and I confess. Everything that shine ain't gold, quiet is kept. It ain't always been this clean, I'm a mess. The boy fit, but these bars I spit sick. Gotta get it off my chest, look. My word is born, telling you we the best. Game changer, I break rules like fuck the rest. We shall. Like a coming of age. OG said it was written, put the pen to the page. I pull rank like I'm cutting a spade, huh? Guns go blaze, clowns testing my aim. When them things popped off, nothing was same. I wonder how the game could change. Whole damn thing rearranged. The new picture too big for the frame. Yeah, seeds still grew from under the flames. Good times coming soon after the rain. We stirring the pot, no hiding from pain. And everything left, poof, soon as it came. How we rockin'? Mind state that we adopted. Cruise through doubt, move mountains. Who's counting? They want us locked up and boxed in, but here's a plot twist. You got this. You were the right one. This is the right time. We in the right place. Once in a lifetime, living our best life. Call me obsessed, fine. Speak from the chest. I'm winning. You guessed right. We shall. Yeah, it all feels different now. World shifted. Fortunes done flipped around. Limited thoughts on pause, I switch them out. Love what I'm dishing out. Way further along in my vision now. I took a different route, right back up when I tripped and fell. Couple of haters, yeah, I wish them well. Listen, I love myself, healed, them weapons fell. The verse got more depth than a picture tells. Play it back twice, feel the message like it's in braille. I slap a clown and give him hell. Bet against me, mission fell. I let my nuts hang, Chip and Dale. And where we at, I'm rich, spiritual, fat. I'm set on heavy max, loaded every stat. Dude special, a matter of fact. Quite epic in battle and raps. It's no question ahead of the pack. Yeah, fly way over the draft, no salary cap. Call me the ghost, New York streets, out of the trap. Now seeing me everywhere like I'm cornered the map. Just mind the gap,
Now who that? Living where the love and the loot at. The process smooth, relaxed, this how we do that. And when shit feels tight like it's a wrap, listen, you just gotta remember that you were the right one, this is the right time, we in the right place, you ain't no lightweight, living our best life, call me obsessed, fine, speak from the chest, I'm winning, you guessed right, and we shall, right one, this is the right time, we in the right place, you ain't no lightweight, living our best life, call me obsessed, fine, speak from the chest, I'm winning, you guessed right, and we shall